been about a week since the Flyers drafted. Flyers did really well in the draft this year. I'm excited to talk about them. In the third round of the 2019 NHL entry draft, the Flyers selected Ronnie Attard, an overager at the age of 20. He's 6'3", 207 pounds. But I got to say, I saw him in development camp. The kid looks big. He might be even bigger than 207 at this point. The advantage that the Flyers take here is that he's actually physically developed already. Now, it's a guy who's passed over several times, but he put up 30 goals last year. That's a pretty big deal. I know that a lot of people probably don't want to, give it too much credit, but he did it as a captain. 30 goals, 34 assists, and again, his previous numbers before that were 8 goals, 7 assists. That's a pretty big jump. He was also plus 46 last year, and that's no joke. Even though he was 20 at the time he did it, you should pay attention to that. It doesn't mean his ceiling is that of a Shea Weber, right? But it does mean that he's kind of made a jump. Not everybody develops at the same time. That is just not true. That's why a lot of times we see guys who are passed up in the draft or fall deeper in the draft because their body didn't grow and develop properly in time. Phil Myers is a great example of that. Igor Zamula for the Flyers, who, nobody knew he was going to be what he was until the Flyers kind of had him at camp and saw this kid's got some poise that we weren't expecting. Phil Myers, all of a sudden, he's got hands and speed, comes in and dominates offensively the following year. People didn't expect that because it's a large jump. The Flyers hope here that they kind of got it lucky and maybe found themselves maybe a top 4 defenseman. I will say, I saw him at development camp. I was impressed. I was really impressed. He was noticeable at every shift. He was really physical. He had a good shot. He had a good way of following up the play. He made smart plays too. I didn't see him take any risks that were unnecessary, and I didn't see him back down. He was super chatty and confident. It makes sense. It makes sense why they picked him in the third round. A lot of times overagers, for instance, why Kalynuk was taken late in the draft. I believe he was a 7th round pick for the Flyers. You see to take an overager in this instant, in the third round, it's kind of a big deal. It means they saw enough of him to be like, this guy actually projects to be an NHL pro, not just, a guy who got lucky because he's older than everybody. The skill set is there, and I saw in Def Camp. I really enjoyed what I saw from him. I think it was a good pick by the Flyers. I think it adds more depth to the Flyers' blue line, which is fantastic because the Flyers are a little top-heavy. Their goaltenders are stacked. Their forwards are stacked. Defense, they didn't really have anybody top tier. They went with Cam York. They went with Ronnie Attard here, 2 guys who probably project to be, a top pairing and then potentially a top 4, maybe at least a bottom pairing guy in Attard. Flyers are trying to fill out those NHL spots and just keep the wave of players coming, especially with Attard being a right-hander. It makes him a little more rare. He's got the size. He's got kind of everything. He could surprise everybody. He could end up being the steal of the draft. I mean, quite frankly, just because he could be AHL, maybe even NHL ready within a year. Who really knows? I mean, what if he takes another jump? He's going to go play in college hockey right now at Michigan, and I'm pretty sure he'll get top pairing minutes over there. I mean, he's physically ready. His skill set is ready. And if he has a really strong season in NCAA, there's no reason to think that he can't be an effective NHL player because that is a fantastic projection. Why Kalynuk surprised everybody, and I'll say why Kalynuk looked really good in development camp. Looked very offensive, looked super confident with the puck. Physically, he matured nicely. It looks like he could be an AHL player today and be a successful one. So it's very interesting to see how well the Flyers have done in the draft, and it's not surprising that they kind of kept the trend going with the same scouts that Ron Hextall had.